In this recording, we're going to look at how you can use Tabnine to perform code review in the IDE before you push your changes. So we're going to start with a demo. I'll show you this in practice, and then we can have a look at how this is achieved. So I'm going to begin with some work that I've created, and I want to ask Tabnine to review this work for any security vulnerabilities or code quality issues. And I'll do this by very simply through a natural language prompt asking Tabnine to review my changes. So what you're going to see here is Tabnine using a number of tools to do this work. And one of the first tools here is a tool that exposes Semgrep to Tabnine. So it'll use Semgrep to scan for vulnerabilities. Here we can see Tabnine is now also reading a number of code quality rules that we've set in a plain text file within this repo, and also it's calling an API here through another tool to factor in rules that we've set at a team level for this work. So right now Tabnine is creating the report based on all of these rules and guidelines. Here we can see the report now in the IDE. It's in Markdown format, and we can see quite a number of defects have been identified as part of this work. So we'll have a look at these in more detail. So we've got 3 critical and 2 high severity issues. So let's look at the report in more detail. Now we've asked Tabnine to create this report and begin by presenting a summary of findings. So each defect has a severity, where the defect was identified. Where it says LLM is where we didn't have an explicit rule in place for this issue, but where the model was able to determine that an optimization is required. So a number of findings here. We also asked Tabnine to generate the report in such a way that for each file, we have a link to the file in our project, so we can have a look at the code. Also in here, for each finding, it'll show not only the offending line of code, but also how to rewrite that code to resolve the issue. And in this case, it's a vulnerability, so we have links out to OWASP and other external reference sites. So again, more examples here of code quality issues and how to rewrite the code to solve them. So the next step now is to ask Tabnine to fix some of these things that we've seen. So we're going to ask Tabnine here to fix just the critical and high severity issues, and then once it's done that, to push these optimizations and changes to a new merge request within GitLab. So based on the findings in the report, Tabnine is now going to step through each one of my changes, optimize each of those changes, and you can see that happening right now. It's updating all of the code in my IDE right now. So there's quite a few files to get through here, and okay, now it's finished that work. Now it's adding the files to Git, pushing the code to a new feature branch. And what you're seeing right now is Tabnine using another tool to create the merge requests now in GitLab on my behalf. So this should complete momentarily, and we can see that it's now done. So all of my code has now been optimized. It has been pushed to my source code management system, and we have a new MR. I'm going to click on that link now and have a look at that MR. So here we can see 16 seconds ago it was created. All 7 files have been pushed. The MR has been pre-populated with all of the information about the optimizations that we've made. And this is a huge time saver for us. And not only is it a huge time saver, but it's also helping to ensure that the code that we're pushing is of the highest quality possible. So how have we done all of this? Well, as I mentioned, there were a number of tools that we used as part of this code review process, but the real power lies in the guidelines that we created. So having a look at some of those guidelines, we can see that not only are we pointing the agent to some of the MCP tools that we provided, but we're also telling it how to use those tools. Here we're telling the agent how to look at the code, how to determine whether or not there are defects. Here we have additional rules in a file within the repo. And here's a tool that uses the Tabnine Coaching API for additional guidelines. And if we have a look at some of those guidelines, here's the web interface for them. You can see that each guideline can be applied to either an individual team or on a global basis. And for each guideline, we can set the description, the severity, of course, but also if you have a tried and tested way of doing things or certain accepted patterns for solving domain-specific problems, this is a great place to define those approaches here. So that's the guidelines around the code review itself. And then in terms of the report, we have guidelines that tell the agent how to create that report. We have the summary of findings that we saw. We have the file-by-file analysis, and lots of other instructions as to how to generate that report. And then finally, looking at some of the tools that were used, we exposed a GitLab tool to create that MR. We have the coaching API tool, and then finally Semgrep, which was used to scan for vulnerabilities. So all of these tools and the guidelines all came together to perform or to allow that code review that we saw. So that was a quick example of how to use Tabnine for code review, in this case in the IDE before you push your code. Of course, there's many different ways you can perform a code review with Tabnine, but you might find that this particular approach suits your workflow. I hope you found this useful, and as ever with these recordings, we'll provide all of the files and all of the resources that were used as part of the demo, and we'll do that separately.